Ah, yes. Ah, yes. Exactly what we needed. Guys, presented by Prize Picks. Get $50 in lineups when you play your first $5 and you use the promo code LIGHTYEARS. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, one and all. I just need to. Okay.
Okay.
I can be honest with you, Andy. I've been a patient man. So much so that I'm just getting killed for shilling, being patient, not wanting to do X, Y, and Z. But I'm a little older. Sam of 5 years ago would have crashed out 10 games ago.
Yeah.
But I've been trying to, take the long game approach here, be a patient man, believe that there is a better team here, believe that what we saw the second half of last year was not fraudulent, and all those things. And I think I've hit my fucking wall tonight. I really do. Like that loss off of the amount of rest they had and the way that they lost at the end.
Yep.
The rotations throughout the game.
Yep.
I mean, they had the game under control, and then the turnovers, the entire thing. I just like, it's over. It's over. 50 games. Fuck that. Like I'm officially thrown in the towel on believing that they would get back to some version of what we saw last year. Because that's what I thought was going to happen. I thought at some point we'd see the team that we saw the second half of last year. And I'm not saying they're going to win a 60-game pace, which is what they did the final 31 games of last year, but I thought they would stabilize to a solid team.
Yep.
I've had enough. I've had enough with the lineup changes, the rotation tweaks. The constant tinkering, the lack of effort. Without knowing anything, they look like a team who has a bad locker room. The way they play basketball suggests to me that there's locker room issues going on behind the scenes. And why wouldn't there be? They had drama all off season because the front office doesn't think apparently these are humans and any of that stuff carries over in any capacity. Kuminga, he went from being kind of a polarizing, sometimes good, maybe not as good as some people think, but there's something there, player, to just a complete non-factor. I don't know. Maybe the summer had something to do with that, or maybe you should have known and just moved him over the summer. And I'm not even going to make this about him, but I feel like that's like kind of an analogy for all the issues that they have, which is they don't feel like a very serious team from the top, and it's permeated down to the bottom to the point where like Draymond's throwing grade school level turnovers. And I love Draymond, and I really don't like doing this, but it's just like tonight I was just watching. I was like, I can't even. There's nothing I can say to defend any of this. Nothing. And Steph, the saddest thing I can say about Steph is, after the losses they had the last couple games, he looks kind of checked out. He looks kind of like, you know what? At least I don't want to hurt myself. At least I don't want to get injured out there. Like that's kind of the level of despondence I'm feeling right now, and the level of patheticness I'm seeing from this team.
I can't disagree with a single word you just said. It's hard to be angry though watching this team, because it just feels like they've been slow roasting to this point, right? Like they've just been slowly but sure. It's not like they were 13-2 and then they lost 10 in a row and you're kind of sitting there like, all right, oh fuck, man. Like, no, it's been a slow but steady kind of downfall the past 6-7 months of everybody's to blame, dude. Comments are going crazy today. I know we're gonna get some fun. We're live on YouTube after the game right now, after every game. But the comments are gonna, Draymond, Kuminga, yes, those two, right? Everyone, man, everyone, dude. Joe Lacob, Steve Kerr. I just name a freaking player. I mean, the only guy that was maybe enjoyable tonight was Pods. Jimmy was good. So like those two guys, but other than that, like every single game, it's someone that you're gonna get mad about. Every single game, it changes, and there's someone to get something to get frustrated about. And I don't know if you and I think we're numb. I think the fans are numb, not just us, dude. Like not just us two and Tommy and whomever else joins us. I think Warriors fans are numb, man. I don't think everyone I think wants to pick a larger reason. It's like it's
Yeah,
like
you want to
and
have like one
yeah,
reason why, because then it's just one thing you need to fix.
yeah,
You want to be
yeah,
like,
yeah,
it's all Pod's fault. It's all Pod. It's all Steve
yeah,
Kerr's fault. It's all Draymond's
yeah,
fault. It's all Kuminga's fault. It's all like,
yeah.
but I think you're right. I think the point is the worst part of it is it's a confluence of paper cuts. It's a lot of things.
Everyone. I think let's take Kuminga for example. Like it's not his fault. Like it's definitely he wasn't good tonight, but it ain't his fault. Like I don't know why he played 9 minutes. Like just don't play him. Like why would you even play? Like what? Like that's the type of stuff I'm talking about. Like just don't play Kuminga because he's obviously not able to play the 8 minutes. Don't play him. It's not. And so I know it's going to be easy.
He's not GP2. He's not going to like get in there
right.
for. By the way, GP2 probably shouldn't have played given the last possession, but that's it. But like he's the type of guy you can throw in there for 4 minutes and he might make a couple plays, right?
And so I think like I use that as an example because Kuminga's the easy one. I think Steve Kerr's another easy one. It's been the Steve Kerr, I think, show this whole week. We're gonna get right into that stuff here and talk about it, but it's easy to blame him. But like, what's he supposed to do? Like, he went big today, guys. He tried. And look, hey, comments. They're going Buddy Hield. Why is Buddy Hield playing? Trust me, bro. If Seth Curry was playing, we would be saying, hey, why is Seth Curry playing? You know what I mean? Or Seth Curry wins him the game tonight, and then Seth Curry the next game doesn't play well, and then we'll say why Seth in. Same with Richard. Like it's they don't have. Can I go back to your point? Can we stick on that a little bit? One point I want to hone in on a little bit. You talk about the team looking like the chemistry is just off. I want to talk about that because if there is one thing that I think we haven't brought up the last couple months is that, and this definitely wasn't true last season. The chemistry is a little weird. It feels like a little like. Do they like playing with each other? Doesn't seem that way. It really the body language isn't great, especially from like a Draymond. And you mentioned from like a Steph tonight, the body language was great. And I think we've seen Jimmy a little bit. I think it's reported that he's been leaving the locker room early after games. Whatever. I do want to point that out that it is a little weird now, and I don't think you get games like this. This is what happens. You get games like this when the locker room isn't bought in.
Yeah, they don't look bought in. Like I can make the constant lineup rotations are certainly part of it. Steve Kerr said this week during the 4 game days off between games that this is their new starting lineup. Does anyone believe him? Do you believe him? No. How many games until he goes to new starting lineup? Does he have it? Does he even bring the starting lineup on Saturday?
I mean, I hope so.
There's like a 50% chance that he changes it on Saturday. You know what I'm saying?
Richard, like, you're starting. Will Richard, you are starting.
After Will Richard should never have fallen out of the rotation, by the way.
True.
If we're going to be honest, the best shooting guard on this team is DeAnthony Melton.
Correct.
But DeAnthony Melton is off of an injury. He hasn't really found rhythm, and we all know he's not going to be able to play more than 20 minutes a game for at least another month, which is fine. It makes sense, right? The best shooting guard they have, if you look at the totality of the season, is Pods. All the lineup data suggests that he's played the best when he plays next to Steph and Jimmy with the starting lineup. And he hasn't started since the early part of the season, which suggests to me that there's politics at play there. Kuminga is the definition of politics. I can't even Steve doesn't want to play him at all, but the front office wants him to play. And maybe the front office is right. He should play more, but he's not getting into that whole situation is clearly a factor of the front office, the coaching staff not being on the same page. And then the rest of it is I mean, it's a game of whack-a-mole, to your point too. And even with those guys, it's a game of whack-a-mole. It's just kind of like, I don't know where to go with it. Clearly, everyone's not bought into it. I don't really know why they have not gone to the lineup combinations that worked last year. Steve was talking about it pregame. He's like, we might look at that more. We know it works. I'm like, how many more games do you need to lose? How many more games do you need to lose? At least go with the stuff that works to get this team back on track.
Yeah.
I understand the concept of you want to figure out how to use your roster better than just an 8-man rotation, but Jesus Christ, man, you're 13-15. How many
13 to 15 is brutal.
How many that quote really rubbed me the wrong way by Steve Kerr. And the whole we know that lineup works, but we'll get to it when we get to it. I'm like, how many more L's do you need to get to it? How many more L's do you need to get to your best lineup combinations? How you're not the 2016 Warriors that can snap your fucking hands and win 19 out of 20. It's not happening. You don't have 30 games to spot on the season. You don't.
Well, they spotted. They're 28 games in. They've spotted 28 games, right? And we're seeing it now. I think you mentioned too. They're very rested. They are not.
That's the worst. There were excuses. That's the worst part. We gave them a lot of grace on the schedule stuff, a lot in the early part of the season, and now they got this stretch where they've played 3 games in 15 days. Didn't make a fucking difference. Didn't make any difference.
Honestly, they should have won all 3. Whatever. We say they should have won all 3 all the time, but at this point, there really should be no excuses. They should have won all 3.
They were up in the fourth quarter of all 3 games. They were up in the fourth quarter of all 3 games.
And you have
you want to say they trick one of those away, and they win 2 out of 3? Fine. They got 0. Donut. It's just
these are games that people get fired or people get traded. I can't even say people get benched because the Warriors rotations are so hilarious that you can get benched and start.
Everyone's getting benched and everyone's coming back in.
But I don't. You talk about the Steve Kerr quote. There was another quote that he had where he said Will Richard was, he's playing well, but he's a rookie, and it kind of intimated why he shouldn't be playing. You're just sitting here and you're like, guys, you're under 500. There's no time to play games. It's just you just got to go and figure it out. And again, if Will Richard plays, I cannot guarantee you that they would have won this game. Maybe they would have lost by 10, right? I don't know. That's he's a late second round pick, but that's the kind of stuff that I think to the locker room thing that we're really referring to is I don't think people are, not that Will Richard isn't happy, but that the fact that you have to keep Will Richard out of the lineup to keep other people happy, right? The example today is really that's the Kuminga example. Hey man, if you really believe that Kuminga should be benched, then bench him. If you believe that he should be playing, then play him. But this 8 minutes thing, 4 minutes at the beginning of the second and 4 minutes at the beginning of the fourth, you lose the game by 1 point, and he was not good. And that's not the reason why they lost. Maybe if Draymond didn't turn the fucking ball over every other possession, they win too. But I'm just saying, that's the stuff. That's what are we doing? Why is he playing? It's token 10 minutes. Play him 25. Then if you want to play him 25, play him 25. Yeah, go ahead.
Moses Moody. Nobody ever criticized Moses Moody, and to be fair, why would you, right? He doesn't have the expectations of being the future franchise player. He keeps his head down. He works. He never complains when he gets the short end of the stick. He's under 30% from 3 for well over a month now.
Oh my God.
I don't really understand why he got put into the starting lineup other than trying to appease someone, trying to figure something out. If you were going to play one of the young guards at the 2-guard spot, Pods has by far been the best one over the last month. And that's not even a question. Really and that's not to say he's been perfect. You could argue none of them have been particularly good. I wouldn't sit here and be like, you're wrong. It's not like we're sitting here with Cooper Flag, or something like that, where it's just it's very obvious that he's a dude, right? But if you're going to go down that route, he's been better, but Moses Moody, Going to start another 2 for 10, 1 for 6. And I get it from the standpoint of theoretically he's a shooter, but he's not hitting shots. I don't know. Quentin Post. Quentin Post can shoot the ball. He is still a second-year player. And now you're coming in here with the expectations that, like, oh, we found a guy who can shoot the ball. Now it's time for him to be Kristaps Porzingis. And it's like, I don't know, man. He's a young player. He might shoot 27% from 3 for the next month. That's what happens. That's what happens with guys. So I don't even know where I was going with that, to be honest with you. It's just like, at this point, I've hit my wall. I think it's the part that's like broken me is they got the rest.
Yep.
They got the spacing.
They got the schedule.
In theory, I was like, okay, give them a few days. Let them figure out how they want to play together, play some teams who are not that good, and they should get a couple wins to get back on track. Doesn't mean they're back, but just get back on track. And they can't even do that. They lose 3, all 3.
Yep.
All 3. And we're talking about over 3. They've lost 3 games over a 14-day span. They haven't played. They had 5 days off. They played 2 games in 3 nights, and they had 4 days off.
Unreal.
What the fuck? Like, what do you want me to say? What do you want me to say at this point? It's like I said, I've been a patient man. I was not willing to overreact to the early stuff. I felt good about myself being a mature human. You guys still broke me before Christmas. I told myself I was not going to do this before Christmas.
Yeah, Cooper Flagg might go for 45 against them on Christmas.
Nice, man.
Happy fucking yeah. Klay might go for 30. All right, let's get off the current Warriors. We had enough of these guys, but we know the last week there's been a bunch of new news. So let's get to those. Before we do that, Light Years Podcast, we are brought to you guys by Prize Picks. On Prize Picks, being right will get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this football season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. We just have to play the game of the season tonight. This not the Warriors, but the Seahawks and the Rams. They went into overtime and a 2-point conversion from our guy Sam Darnold, who gives the Niners a chance to get the first seed. If you want to go with, I think Brock Purdy's the guy on the Niners right now. I've been touting CMC all year, but he looks a little worn down. I'm going with Brock Purdy. If you're gonna put guys in your lineup and build a roster.
Monday night, by the way, I'm kind of excited about that game. Detroit, it'll be a fun one. Brock, by the way, looking very healthy recently. All the people who said, "Oh, there's no difference between him and Mac Jones," relax.
Yeah, that was a little crazy.
If you're playing Prize Picks lineups, you know the difference.
Hey, the rushing numbers are much better for Brock too, for sure. No, Brock's a much better quarterback.
All the numbers, bro. But yeah, I hear you.
I'm going with Brock. That's my guy the rest of the season, man. He's gonna put on a show here. So hey, and Prize Picks now they got this thing called early payout. So if your lineup gets off to a hot start, let's say you go Brock, more on the rushing yards and CMC on the reception yards, and let's say Juwan Jennings are more on the touchdown because he scores one every weekend. If you get off to a hard start, you have the option now to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. So it's really cool. Get your money quicker. Download the app today. Use code LightYears to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LightYears to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right.
It is good to be right. It would also be good if the Warriors won a game. So we can start with that too. But guys, if you are physically feeling like the Warriors, lethargic, pathetic, out of shape, whatever you want to call it, the first thing is being honest with yourself. And then the second thing is giving yourself the tools to get back on track. Look, man, it's the holiday season. We're all about to eat 5,000 pounds of food. We're all about to get to January and be like, time for me to lock in and lose 10 pounds. And the number one way to do that, the number one way to get honest with yourself is actually see where your body's at. And so what I love about our friends at Body Spec is they've made the DEXA scan affordable for everyone. What is a DEXA scan? It's a highly accurate method of measuring your body's composition, body fat percentage, lean muscle mass, visceral body fat, the fat around your organs, the stuff that tells you what's really going on under the hood more so than standing on the scale, Traditionally, this is like $500 with body spec and the code LightYears45. You can get a DEXA scan for only $45. That's right, guys. This is a great holiday gift. Great holiday gift for that uncle who's got diabetes, that relative, who's trying to get in better shape. But also it's a great gift for yourself. Just $45, guys. Buyspec.com, code LightYears45. Get a DEXA scan for only $45. Locations in the city and LA, mobile vans, they'll come to you. Start your fitness journey. Shout out to the uncle, by the way.
Might be me. Uncle might be me, to be honest. Nah, I'm just kidding.
I mean, we all, at some point, we're all going to be that uncle. But the key is denying you're that uncle for as long as possible.
Lay off the sugar. Jeez. The older you get, the harder it is. But yes, that's why body spec.
Everything's harder. Everything's hard. But yes,
look
including watching the Warriors. Oh. All right. I want to give people a chance to sound off, so I'm going to drop a link in a few minutes. But before we do that, we got an article today from our guy Slater and Tim McMahon talking about Klay's return next week. Week from today's the Christmas game.
Yay!
Yeah, it's I feel like Scrooge too. Not really the holiday spirit, but there's some good stuff here. I kind of want to talk about this quote, so I'm gonna read it out loud. It was talking about Klay and Lacob. In the years that followed, sources said Thompson heard that Lacob was telling several people Thompson should be grateful the Warriors given him that deal, while also grumbling about his declining performance. Thompson had torn his Achilles in an unsanctioned pickup game away from the facility, and later acknowledged he could have treated his ACL rehab more carefully, but believed he'd done more than enough for the organization to earn that contract and future loyalty. There were more quotes in this piece along these lines. I mean, Andy, do you kind of agree with me? Like, a lot of this felt like rehashing stuff that we mostly knew.
Yeah, it's a little gossipy. Though I think Slater's national now, right? So I think a majority of his readers don't know this. So I'll give him
this is a new. He's letting the new readers in Omaha, in Albuquerque, behind the scenes with the Warriors, the stuff that we knew.
Bristol, Connecticut. I think this tells. There's one thing. Maybe I'll go this route for you. If there is one person that you can blame for all this, after I just said 25 minutes ago that blame falls on everyone. If there is one person you can blame for a lot of this, the downfalls, what we've seen since 2022, I think it's very clearly Joe Lacob. I think that's the guy that you can point to and say, for all the good that he's done for this team and this organization, I don't think he's like erased all of it, obviously, but he's done some real damage in the last couple years. I'm not just talking about this. I think the obvious stuff is the two timelines. The obvious stuff is the fact that he wanted to draft certain players and then he didn't want to trade away certain players. And then now there's a player on the team that he still doesn't want to trade away that should have been gone years ago. And then we go talk about this with the Klay Thompson thing. I don't think Klay, got really angry and wanted to leave because of Joe Lacob. Let's be clear about that. I don't think it helps. I think if Bob Myers, one of the reasons we go back to this one, right? Sam, like Bob Myers, would Klay have stayed if it was Bob kind of like mending the fences, like playing the mediator?
I mean,
there's a higher chance. I think there's a higher chance. Yeah.
We had TK on a week ago, and by the way, if you guys didn't listen to that, you should listen to that episode. It was more enjoyable than the Warrior games are right now. I'll tell you that. But I mean, he mentioned that like Bob, among other things, like family wanted to move to LA.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just Joe, and that's fine. But it's also hard to not read between the lines and be like, if he was fully happy in his job, is he really acquiescing to family wanting to move?
Tom Brady wouldn't. Look, and the other thing, it's also a lot of money, dude. Like, I'm sure Joe was offering him a lot of money, but I think it's just, if Klay, were things easy with Klay at the end, I think if you guys go back and listen to our podcast, like, it was really tough with Klay at the end. Like, really tough. He was a tough person to be around. I think that's
Mhm.
true. But I do think, like, you look at the team now, in hindsight, 2020. But Sam, like, I don't think this team's better off without him. I don't think they've really done, like, they've really, like, taken off, right? Maybe if Potts had become like a star player, like, then we could say, okay, like, they maybe shouldn't have tried harder to mend those fences. But, like, that's not what happened, right? And so I think everyone has blame, dude. But I hope he comes back. Can I say, like, I hope he comes back at the end of his career. I don't think they're gonna trade for him now or next year or whatever, but I do think maybe a couple years from now, you think? Like, I think that's what's gonna happen. They'll play maybe just sign a last couple of weeks of the season. I don't know. I would like him back in a Warriors
I
jersey before he retires.
I'm agnostic. Like I don't need to see Clay retire a Warrior for me to appreciate and love his legacy. But also, if he did, I would think it was cool. Like it'd be honest with you. So that part of it doesn't really register with me in the short term. Like what registers with me is like I kind of just want Steph to be given a better roster to go forward with this, and we can talk about that at a deeper level. But like Clay is kind of in the washed phase of his career. Draymond might be in the washed phase of his career. That hurts for me personally. Steph is not. And I don't want to think about nostalgia tours until like I'm confident he is, So that's where my personal head is. But actually, when I was reading all this stuff, I have a different take. And I don't disagree with a word you said. Like we've the tapes are the record, and by all accounts, he was a pain in the ass at the end. And honestly, because of who he is, I understand it. Like, imagine having to go to work every day and seeing pictures of yourself when you were the man and you're no longer that guy. Like, it would tear you up inside, right? Like, there's a lot of mental things he could never get over. He could never be the player he is on the Mavericks, which is a role player who sometimes goes off on the Warriors. Like he wouldn't allow it, right? Putting all of that aside, I also think whatever Lacob's saying is probably true. Like probably is true. But I'm going to say this right now. Whether Joe is right or wrong, it doesn't fucking matter. You know what is going to start rubbing people the wrong way and rubs me the wrong way? That his name is all over this. Bro, nobody likes an owner who has main character syndrome. Nobody, not a single person likes an owner who has main character syndrome. And that's what I'm seeing here. Like reading about that just screams to me he wants people to know he was right. And you know what? He probably was right, but who fucking cares? Like it's not about that. Like get out of the way, man. And I think that's really the issue for the Warriors, where it's like, it's great to have an enthusiastic, passionate owner until they're constantly crossing the line all the time. You can get away with being mouthy when you're 73-9 and you get KD and everything. Like, you know what I mean? Then everyone just wants to be like, yeah, Joe. Yeah, talk your shit. When you're declining and everyone can see that your operation it's not like dumpster fire. Like you're not the Pelicans or the Hornets, but it's decidedly mediocre. Like I don't think anyone would look at the way the Warriors have operated the last 5 years and be like, that's the model. That's the model organization. And your name is always front and center. Like, yeah, you're going to start rubbing people the wrong way. It reminds me so much of Mark Cuban, if I'm going to be honest with you. It reminds me so much of like the way Cuban was beloved for saving the Mavericks and making them good. And then at the end, all Mavs fans were just kind of like tired of,
hey, they want
being mid. Well, yeah, that's another reminder. Also, Warrior fans would know it could be worse. It could be worse
than Joe. I can tell you that right now. So all this
I'm not out here saying like castigate Joe like he's the biggest problem on earth, but I'm just saying,
yeah,
it's like it wears on you. It's like it's not cute. It's not.
Yep.
I'm not convinced they're going to be good post Steph. Like
you're not convinced. You're not convinced, Sam, to pay the fucking least. Look, They're not going to be good. I got some fucking news.
Well, no, but I mean, like, if you think that they're a smart team, they'll be bad, and then they'll figure out their next guys.
Sure. Oh yeah.
You know,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't expect it to not have down years. Like, that's a given. But I'm not convinced they're going to build a title team ever.
I think they'll end up being a mediocre front office. They're not the worst. There's much worse front office, but there's much better, and they're right in the middle. They don't have enough IQ in there. And then they won't have Steph. So they'll be right in the middle, which is honestly kind of where they belong for what they think they are. They think they're the best. They think they're a bunch of Sam Presties in there. And I got news for you. They're not Viveks though. So there's that for them. But hey, I agree with you.
Finishing 12th out of 30, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, I guess that's better than fucking Cohen years, right? I guess maybe not. Maybe it's like the Giants, right? Like the Giants have like there's so many parallels.
Very analogous to the Giants.
It's so because the Giants have been in the middle forever, and it's like, right? Do you know what I mean? Like it's so analogous. I don't know if the Giants think they're geniuses, but they certainly like don't make enough changes to like make themselves better, right? And so we'll see where the Warriors are at. The Joe Lacob point, I think you nailed it for the main character syndrome. Like Jerry Jones is another good comp where people have talked about Jerry Jones a bunch, but it really echoes hard when Jerry Jones is the one talking about like he's the one that wanted to trade for Quinn Williams. He's the one that like wanted to trade Micah Parsons. It's like, what the fuck does Jerry Jones know about football that his front office, people that are paid to scout?
Excuse me, he was an offensive tackle for the University of Arkansas in 1962. I'm not even joking.
Was he actually?
Yeah.
Which is more than what Joe Lacob has done in basketball. But it's like, let the guys.
You talk to people who hoop with Lacob at Stanford, though.
Yeah, Kirk or Joe.
They say got game.
Yeah, it's not. It's when Joe started and hired people, he hired all the right guys: Jerry West, Bob Myers, Steve Kerr, and those guys turned this franchise into a freaking dynasty, best team of all time. And I think this always happens with humans, right? Since the beginning of time, they start using their own. They flew very close to the sun. Now they're in the sun. Now they're burnt. Now it's just bones now, and that's where they're at. Like you start to believe that you're the one that should be drafting and make. You believe that you know basketball, and you believe that James Wiseman is the pick. You believe that Jonathan Kuminga is the star. You believe that you know. It's like, no, you don't know shit. Like Joe Lacob, you're a genius. You're a billionaire. You know, you're much smarter, right, about everything else. But about basketball, your knowledge about basketball is the same as Sam and I. Let the guys that actually know how to do their jobs, do their jobs. And that has not been the case for the last couple of years. I think it's very clear.
And I think that, and just, to piggyback it, it's just kind of like you're going to start rubbing people the wrong way. People are going to get very tired of this act, no matter how much you've won in the past, so
I think Steve is tired.
We'll see. I think Steve is tired, and yeah, we'll keep going. We got some people who want to join.
Yeah, let's get someone. Yep,
let's get to them. Let's start with our guy Tashion. I'm gonna go in order that people joined. So the OG, you sound off first.
I 28, and I'm considered an OG. I'm probably just as washed as Draymond right now. Oh God. We are in hell.
I was just saying, show OG. You've been. This isn't your first rodeo calling in, but you can call yourself washed.
I will say, I told you, Andy. I told you about Dylan Brooks, bro. I knew this team was going to trick off this game somehow. So since the Warriors decided to become an unserious franchise. And I'll get into my fake logic back in terms of why draft picks matter in not only this year, but how ramification for multiple years at another date. But right now, we're going to be on Steph Curry 27,000 point watch right now. We're going to be at Draymond. Can he get 1,000 blocks, 1,000 steals? We're going to be at stat padding watching for the rest of the season because I am this close to the nuclear option of blowing up everything because the team is that uncertain. And to Lakeland's credit, he won. He broke me. He made me think that this team could actually win despite him being a meddling bastard. But then again, he, like most things and how most ownerships do, they take for granted the most generational talents this game has to offer, from MJ to Kobe, anyone in general. And now I got to see the greatest player in franchise history, the third best player ever, get dog walked by Dylan Brooks. Congratulations, Lacob. You made this franchise look unwatchable.
Yeah. The worst part is I don't even know how to counter. I'm just kind of just get it off your chest. Go for it. Like I really hope this is the final low point of the season. I know it won't be, but I really hope it is. I really hope this is the lowest we hit right now, because I personally am at a current crossroads.
Oh, it could get worse, but we could also get into tanking season. But that's just also disgusting, given the fact that we had title hopes. But hey, let's try to. But now I lowered my expectation. Now, can we be better than the Dallas Mavericks now? Let's go, boys. Let's see if we can beat Cooper Flag and Klay Thompson in the return game for Christmas Day.
This is perfect. This is a draft with multiple players who are can't miss. So if the Warriors end up with a top 5 pick, they'll take the one guy who is borderline and will miss. So it'll be perfect. All right. Touch, I appreciate you. I'm not willing to get there just yet. Let's get James up here. James, you tried to call in earlier. Appreciate you, man. What's going on?
Are you in an office, James?
Yeah, I am. I'm still amazing. I live from over in New Zealand.
So I'm nice.
Afternoon over here, so I'm still finishing my day up.
I love what time is it in New Zealand?
It's nearly 6:30 p.m.
Wow. Okay. So that game ruined the middle of your afternoon.
Yeah, I'm on Christmas break after today, so it's a lovely start to my holidays. So yeah. But no, thanks for having me on. I just want to talk. I don't know. I'm sick of everyone waiting for Jan 15th. I think obviously JK's contract is 22.5 mil, but they've got Buddy that makes 9. They've got Moses that makes 11. That's 18 mil just there. I think change needs to happen because Steve gets too many people that he can use and just starts throwing everyone out there. I think, yeah, it's just frustrating.
I agree with you.
There's many people that he can use. So in his mind, he's got all the options. He just starts tinkering, and we've seen this was their 10th different lineup in like 9 games. On the last 10 games, sorry. They keep changing their lineups. No consistency.
Yeah, do you believe him? Do you believe him when he says he'll start the same lineup next game?
I mean, not really. I'd like to. I like the idea of that starting lineup. Like the concept of all those of that 5 together works if everyone's playing at least average. Like Moses is missing wide open shots at the moment. He's been pretty up and down. If he's hitting shots, his confidence goes up. He defends better, and that kind of just stretches everything out. Jimmy has been up and down, but even then, he's gone down in the last couple of years, especially compared to these runs that he went on with the Heat. But if you look at those Heat teams, they just had Jimmy, Bam, who could control inside, and then just a bunch of shooters. Right now, the Warriors can't throw a rock off the boat into the ocean off the boat.
They can't.
No one can shoot except for Steph. And then even when Steph shoots, they still lose. So it's yeah, I think everyone's hung up on Jan 15th because that's when JK becomes available. But I think change needs to be made now, and then you can still get someone in that mid-20s range regardless. It's just due for a shake-up, I think.
I agree with you on the macro.
They have to do something. Well, the question becomes and I know Slater had brought this up on the show on ESPN today too. It's well, they've got to decide, is it worth it for this team to go for it? And that's what we always make fun of the Warriors on. It's well, if they're not playing well, they're going to say, well, they're not playing well, we don't want to go all in. If they are playing well, they're going to say, well, we are playing well. We don't want to go all the, we don't want to mess this up. They've done this for 3 years.
And they also they stand pat on the good players as well. Like, not the good players, the young players. Like Pods has a good game tonight. So now they say, oh, this is what he can be. And then if he turns around and doesn't have a good game next night, then we're like, oh, well, here we go.
There's no
they
long-term
sit too long waiting for
evaluation.
the potential instead of just selling high on players when they can.
Yep.
And I think, and it's like you guys talk, I think a lot of it comes down to Joe having his hands dipped in too much.
Yeah. They have, I would say the biggest issue is they have no conviction. Anyone can say, oh, I'm willing to trade the kids for Giannis. Like, no fucking shit, dude. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need to be Sam Presti to know Giannis is a good idea, right? Like,
100%.
But their issue with these player evaluations is, and it really does come back to Joe being too involved. Because if you are an actual basketball guy, you would have moved Kuminga 2+ years ago because you would have seen what was going on and you'd have made the decision like, this is the best I'm going to do. This is the best I'm going to do right now. You know,
we saw literally what Presti did with Giddey. That's literally what he did.
Giddey's like 3 years and then moved him.
Giddey's very good, by the way.
But he just didn't fit what the Thunder needed.
But it's
and they went and got what they needed.
And honestly, if Kuminga goes somewhere, like he could put up some empty numbers like Giddey too. Like go right ahead. But it's like, you know what? You're gonna trade him for a player right now that you can win with, and it's Caruso. And you know what? And you know what? I bet you Joe doesn't give a shit about Caruso. He's like, well, he can't score, can't really dribble, can't really shoot ish. But you know, if Caruso on the Warriors, he might play 49 minutes a game if he was on the Warriors. So anyway,
Also, he was just being realistic with who Giddey is. Giddey is a good player. Giddey might make All-Star this year. He wasn't looking at him through the standpoint of like, my franchise is gonna be ruined if I lose this guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he's like, all right, I got Jalen Williams, I got Chet, I got Shea. I'm good on guys who need the ball in their hands.
Yeah,
so let me flip him for like one of the best players who plays without the ball in their hands, you know?
The Warriors either have people that need the ball in their hands or need it spoon-fed to them.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Just it's a lack of decisiveness. That's really what it comes down to. James, appreciate you, man. Have a great day and have a great holiday. All right, let's get Big Z up here.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, what's up, man?
I'm just in the whatever ongoing grieving process of watching this season unfold in front of our eyes. Honestly, man, I just feel like there's no type of meritocracy with the team. I feel like the fact that Will Richard is sitting and then he got bummy heeled out there, it to me, it's just absolutely mind bending. I feel like, like those type of things, they reverberate through the entire room, locker room, the team, whatever you want to call it. I just think it's one of those situations where, like, if he plays instead of Buddy, we probably win this game. And I know that's maybe zooming in a little too much at the greater picture you guys are trying to discuss today. But having said that, I feel like Steve's an imposter, man. And I feel like that for a long time. I feel like, way back in the day when Luke Walton coached the team and he was 46-4, I feel like that year in the playoffs when Mike Brown was taking over and he was 12-0. I feel like he's only good if he has a decisive talent advantage. I also feel like 2 years ago at the FIBA World Championships when he was playing Josh Hart and Mikal Bridges at center and not even meddling with fucking Team USA. This guy's galaxy brain, dude. And I feel like it's like that show, ironically, which is set in San Francisco comedy 10 years ago called Silicon Valley. There's this guy called Big Head. He's like that guy, bro. He's just like blessed by the heavens to inherit this beautiful position in life, but he doesn't know what he's doing. And like, I know you like your football, Sam, so let me just give a reference to you. Over in Europe, if you're trash bins, the whole crowd is going to be chanting, you don't know what you're doing, you're going to be sacked in the morning. But right now we're in the situation, it's kind of going back to what, this lovely boxer from the 80s, Marvin Hagler, said, which is, it's hard to get up for a run at 5 a.m. when you're sleeping on silk pajamas. So these guys they're so decorated, they're so illustrious in all the things they've done over the last 10 years. But I feel like either you have to get rid of Steve or Draymond or both if you want to see any sort of a light at the end of the tunnel with Steph. Because quite honestly, like, obviously we're a little disappointed with what we watched today, but if we really zoom out and we think about it, there's no chance of us winning anything this year. There's no chance of us beating OKC, right? So this is an entertainment product at the end of the day, right? Should we have our feelings on the line for people that don't even know we exist? That's almost like a definition of insanity. Like, I love basketball, I love sport, but having said all that, this is a stressful undertaking for me to watch. And just to mention one thing about what you guys talked about earlier about when Klay was a little bit semi-toxic the year before he didn't get paid or whatever. The situation with him and Joe and all that. I just wanted to say that, like, seeing Draymond get suspended for 27 games that year, spaz out, trick away the season, and him getting 25 M's, and then Klay can't even get around the same amount of money. It's like, what are we talking about here? These things are toxic vibes that people don't always express, but if you zoom out and you look at the macro, it's a little bit more obvious, right? So just okay, I just want to say one last thing briefly about the coaching, right? Now, like, let's say Steve was any person. He's not Steve, he's just any random person, right? And you look at the objective potentiality of the team versus the actual outcome of this game. So the Warriors have blown now 7 fourth quarter leads, which is the worst in the NBA, right? So a coach's job is to manage the game, right? His job is to manage the game, which is essentially manage the the physical and the emotional tones that he's witnessing. He doesn't do any of those things, bro. He's reactive in every situation. He had his one trick, which was the Princeton, the horns, the split action with Draymond, with Stephen Klay, when you got, the divine Jerry West watching over you, blessing you with that. I mean, he's like a basketball god, right? He's there. He's imparting the juice. Without him there, this man is a rudderless ship. He needs to dip, bro. If he dips, okay, let's say you bring in Mike Malone. We make the playoffs as like a 6 seed. We win 49 games. Maybe we get to see the second round. But either we're gonna have to trade like 8 people, or one of those 2 guys is gonna leave. That's all I can see. But anyways, happy holidays. God bless you guys, man.
God,
happy holidays, man. That was a great rant.
Best call of the season. Can we pull that? Can we pull that and
it's getting pulled. It's getting put up there.
Gosh, that was awesome.
I don't even disagree with most of it. Like, I'm at a point.
Draymond, Sam. Let's talk Steve Kerr. I think that was where that call was going. So we should probably do a couple minutes on that.
Yeah. So I am not a proponent for getting rid of Steve or Draymond, but I'll tell you this right now: if it happens, I'm not gonna cry either. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I'm at a point where, if they make that change, obviously my antenna goes up depending on who the next person is. Yeah. But I'm willing to give it a shot. Now, if it doesn't work, it is what it is. I'll get mad about it. But I'm officially at a point where I'm just like, you gotta try something. You gotta try something. And I'm not saying Steve's the issue, although he's not wrong in pointing some of the flaws out. And I'm not gonna say Draymond is the only issue, although, dude, like, games like tonight, it's making it increasingly harder for me to not side with the narrative that, like, he might have just lost one step too much.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying I disagree with that stuff. I'm at a point where I'm ready for a change in some capacity, and I'm willing to do things that probably I would have said, no, don't do that a year ago.
Well, the analogy I use I'll go with Steve Kerr and then Draymond, because I got harsher words for Draymond, I think, than for Steve. But I think with Steve, I love relationship analogies. I think the Steve one is very much you've just been going out with someone for so long. I'm going to use going out because I'm married now, but I've only been married a couple of years, so I can't say the marriage part. But you go out with someone, you're in like an 8-year relationship, and you know what you need to change about yourself, but you just don't do it because there's just no urgency. You just forget. You say you're gonna do it, you want to do it, but you just don't do it. You're just not gonna remember to do the dishes, man. Like, you're just not going to. You're just not gonna put the toilet seat down, man. Like, that stuff isn't. It's too many years, dude. Like, that stuff isn't gonna change. I think with Steve, I think there's just no urgency anymore. It's the same voice. It's the same voice. He's just been around for so long. He is who he is. He's not going to change who he is. He mentioned Mike Malone, the last caller. Mike Malone is a very urgent coach, right? He's very crazy. He's very loud. Game to game, he's doing everything insane. That's not who Steve Kerr is. Steve Kerr's always been a principled coach. I've got these guys here. I'm going to do all my stuff, and we're just going to run it like that, and it's always going to work. Right? Mike Brown's another one, right? That's why you see these coaches, they go somewhere, they have success for 2-3 years, and then it's done, right? Steve Kerr has very much been it's a sustainable level of success. I do think, however, we've gotten to the point where it's like, all right, now it's just like old. I think now I don't know, Sam. I don't know if he's lost a locker room, but I certainly don't think it's like a locker room where Steve is completely tuned in. Okay, so that's Steve. Draymond, I think he's cooked. I've said it all season. He's the worst off. I gotta say it every time. He's the worst offensive player in the league for someone that plays 30+ minutes a game. He's completely tanking this offense. It'd be one thing if Jimmy was a shooter, or it'd be one thing if this team had Michael Porter Jr. or Klay. It'd be one thing if those players were on this, if those are things that was possible. But because he has to play with Jimmy, because Kuminga plays 25 minutes, Kuminga can't play like with Draymond. Like, it's just not going to work. And I don't like Kuminga, but it's like, that's just not going to work because Draymond's so bad on offense. So, and his defense isn't as great as it used to be. So I just, 25 million is fine. I think it's kind of still worth the money, but it's like, you got to make so many, like, you got to have a stretch five, which they kind of don't. Al Horford's cooked, and Quentin Post isn't making shots, so you don't really have a stretch five. You need some shooting wings, man. They don't have shooting wings.
I mean, they need shooting, shot. Period. But yes.
Yeah. So it's like, if you're going to have Draymond as your 4-5, then you got to put 3 shooters around him. Same with Jimmy. You always need shooters, and this team doesn't have enough shooters. So it's like, go get those fucking shooters. If not, then just is kind of who Draymond is. Like, I don't know what you guys like. So anyway,
this is the part that is killing me with Steve. Is Draymond is some of the worst basketball I've ever seen him play. It's not because it's worse than when he gets kicked out of a game for being an asshole. He's playing under control and trying and being bad. You know what I mean? Like that's so much. Yeah. That's so much because it now it elicits the conversations you're talking about for me, which is like, is he too old? Is he just not that guy anymore? Can he not like? I think he can still get back to that gear because the Spurs game literally was a month ago, and I watched what he did against Wemby. But I don't blame you for thinking that might have been like a one-night thing, like that type of thing, right? Like it's if nothing else, like I'm starting to wonder that as well, and that's where I truly don't understand why Steve has not gone back to the lineups that worked last year. Like the Pods, Moody around them, some of the lineup combinations that elicited better results. Because at a certain point, when you're in a bad spell, like the number one way to get out of a bad spell is do something works and just turn it around that way. You can't, like, if they're just going to play those lineup that 7 or 8 man rotation they rode for the end of next year, they're cooked. I'm not saying that's the move, but if you want to turn the momentum around, like, go to what was working for just a little bit, right? And that's where my question was coming to you earlier, which is like, there's got to be some weird locker room dynamics at play. Yeah, because they're losing too often, and there's too many like weird decisions being made that don't make sense to me. Like, I don't know. I'm not a 4-time championship coach, but I throw up the 4 like Klay, buddy. Yeah. But I can tell you this, when you're in a bad spell, like usually one of the number one things you do is go to what's worked in the past and use that as a jumping off point to hopefully get yourself in a better state. And they're not doing that right now, which I don't know. Maybe Steve's master plan is to have them bottom out to 20 losses and then have them truly buy in. Yeah. I don't know if I have it in me to watch that. I don't actually think that's what's going on, but
I think we might. I don't know when we're in it, but I do think part of it too is like, man, they just might not be good enough, and that's the part where it's just painful. Well, and it's not their fault. Like, to me,
it's 2 things. They're not good enough, but I didn't think they were good enough when the season started. I also don't think they're this bad. Like they need. Like, I thought they were going to be able to. Yeah. I thought they were going to be able to enter the trade deadline like 24-18.
Nobody thought they would be this bad. Let's be clear. Not the computers.
I thought they were going to be somewhere. Yeah, the computers had them. Some models had them winning the West, which was wild to me. I wasn't there, but like most people were like, they should be competitively in the 3 to 7 range, probably 4 or 5. And my thought was like, hold your water, then get to the trade deadline and see if you can get a push. Right now, it's bad. It's bad. Yeah. Hollinger had them at 58 wins. That's my point. All right, let's get Mike up here and let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Mike,
right,
appreciate you.
Whoa. What's up, boys? How we doing?
Yeah.
I mean, you know how we're doing.
I know. The way I'm just going to end this is very, very simple. I guess like my core thought here is there's three different issues. There's Kerr, who clearly just hasn't been consistent in anything. Like his press conference stuff this week is one of the most mind-boggling coaching things I've ever seen. It reminds me so much of Bill Belichick at the end, where Patriot fans had just lost any faith in his ability to deal with multiple offensive coordinators, Mac Jones. Like,
Interesting.
They were just little things that added up. And it's the same kind of thing with Kerr, where like little things are just adding up. The JK thing, I just think, is a broader symptom of the broader issues that we have with Kerr. As far as like ownership, I think the big issue with ownership is they went from, as Andy said earlier, hiring the right people to hiring your kids and then hiring the guy who hired the guy in Dunleavy. Like, Dunleavy's a backup GM. We've seen no instance outside of his drafting that he's actually good at his job. Has he made a good trade? Has he done any good player evaluation?
Jimmy. Well, yeah.
Well,
But you are correct in saying he probably got rushed to the position because the Lacobs wanted to hold power. I'm not sure he would have got that job in a different organization at the speed he did, which is 3 years in a front office.
And by the way, all of the people who we would pretty consistently consider like the smart minds of the Warriors basketball operation, they left. You know, one took a GM job. By the way, Ansi Sala is doing a killer job over in Atlanta. I don't know if people are noticing that. I know the team's not great, but like their process has
They're
been
pretty good, dude. I'd kill for what they're at right now. They're having a good season.
You kill for that draft pick they traded for. And then I guess the final part of this, like ultimately, like from an objective, 30,000 feet point of view, is I don't know what this locker room is like, but the Kuminga stuff is now at a place where like I feel like you have Steph Dre and then a whole bunch of dudes who just aren't good. And Kuminga's part of it is it's overriding everything with this season. And even when he gets traded, whether it's January 15th or February 15th, they're not going to be able to add anything of value to make this a playoff-worthy team.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing with the Kuminga stuff is they keep kicking the can forward, being like, value's too low. We're going to get it back up. And I'm just sitting here going, it's like, it could get lower. It could get worse. Like you don't like Malik Monk in a pick? Get ready for DeRozan and no pick. Like stuff like that. Like there's they keep gambling that they're going to turn their assets values around, which is where I come back to like lack of someone who has foresight to be like, this is the best. We could use him in a pick to get Siakam. Do it now. Do it. We're never going to get a better opportunity than that. Because like that was the one.
Real quick, are they the guys at the blackjack table who doesn't know when to say no? Are they the guys who just go for broke?
Well, that's absolutely what they did with Jimmy. I mean, they waited them out, and you can argue it worked, actually. So, like, that's actually the example that they'll give you. Like, it actually worked. I would argue that, well, they kind of burned out, and they didn't actually have a chance to win anything because you waited so long to make that trade versus just doing it earlier if you wanted to give a Kuminga. Whatever. Who knows? And if you got Pascal Siakam, maybe you wouldn't even be able to get Jimmy, but at least you don't waste a couple more seasons, which is kind of what they did, right? So there's so many balls in the air, but I think it comes down to what Sam always says is, and my baseball comparison always hits. Buster Posey, who's running the Giants right now, and I'm not going to. The Giants suck, right? They're a mess, but Buster, he's decisive. Yes. He says he won something. He goes. Willie Adames got paid $100 million. Now you can say Willie Adames is not that good.
No, that's a fucking terrible idea. Crazy analogy.
But I'm saying he did it though. He said I need a shortstop. He went and got it done. The Warriors, I never know what the fuck they're doing, man. I never know what they're doing. They're always they literally I lie. They tell us optionality, which means nothing. Which just means absolutely nothing. It's just corporate lingo to basically tell you, all right, we're just gonna kick the can down the road. And it's like, dude, we all work in companies. When somebody says, "Hey, can we just circle back next week?" That's what they tell us every season. We'll circle back
after the New Year, guys.
We'll circle back. It's like, dude, how many years has it been where we circle back after the New Year, man? Fuck off. Just. Anyway,
I'm ending this right now. That's just pissing me off.
Mike, I appreciate
We'll
you.
be back,
Your Celtics are living, so good for you. All right, man.